The moment arrives. The moment when every breath of history holds still and eternity swallows time whole. Standing before the throne of infinite light, no mask remains. No secret survives. Every choice, every whisper measured by the scales of absolute truth. And for those absent from the book of life, there is no appeal, no second chance, only a road of unspeakable dread with no return, descending toward the second death. The lake of fire. Then the stillness of ages was torn apart. A sound pierced not through ears, but through the essence of every sleeping soul. The final trumpet, the call to ultimate judgment. From barren wastelands to the crushing darkness of ocean trenches, all of the creation obeyed its maker. Just as Scripture foretold, the sea surrendered its dead. From ancient battlegrounds, from royal crypts, and from unmarked graves they emerged. No longer warriors, merchants, or peasants, only souls called to stand before eternity. Death and the grave, those age-old wardens, could imprison them no longer. Across every continent, through every era of mankind, an unstoppable wave of souls ascended, leaving the dust of earth behind. Their voyage through the fabric of existence had one final stop. The place where all condemned humanity, from the first rebel to the last sinner, would answer for everything. The resurrection was finished. An assembly beyond comprehension filled the hall of judgment, billions upon billions, waiting in crushing silence. But they weren't the only ones present. Lurking in chains forged from divine wrath stood those who once walked in glory, the fallen angels awaiting their own terrible fate. Then the books were opened, the chronicles of every action, every thought, every hidden sin. And among them all, elevated above the rest, one book whose pages would determine every destiny. The Book of Life. The cosmos froze. Reality itself seemed to pause, and in that silence, heavier than mountains, louder than thunder, the first soul was summoned. The call resonated through infinity, not spoken as a name, but as the weight of an existence. And for every soul who stepped forward, a vision manifested. A divine projection where nothing at all, could stay concealed. Oh God, no. For the wealthy merchant, the first vision revealed his greed. The rigged scales, the stolen wealth, his cold indifference to the starving at his doorstep, his manufactured holiness, public generosity designed to mask private corruption and buy influence. His arrogance dissolved into horror. But judgment was already carved, not in stone, but in his own choices. Then the warrior's turn arrived. His record spoke not of gold, but of blood. The screen displayed the violent glory he treasured and the brutal cruelty he inflicted behind closed doors. His battle-hardened pride became an unbearable burden of shame when he understood that real courage was never found in his blade. Next stood the woman who believed she was pure. The projection showed her charitable deeds first, the recognition, the praise. She whispered, "See, surely, now." But then the truth emerged, the venomous words that shattered lives, the jealousy concealed beneath kindness, the secret sin that outweighed every good work combined, the official and his treachery, the servant who buried what was entrusted, the ruler and his lust, the scholar and his arrogance. None could escape exposure. The deception, the bitterness, the abandonment, sin after sin, soul after soul. The testimony concluded, the evidence sealed. The moment for excuses had vanished. The book of life remained shut. For multitudes beyond counting, the silence that came next was their only answer. Nothing more needed to be spoken. A harsh, unforgiving radiance descended from above, not to weigh evidence, but to execute sentence. The time had arrived. And so the final walk commenced. A river of condemned souls, flanked by angels of divine justice, marching toward a fate written in prophecy. A gateway materialized, an abyss blazing with fire and drowning in shadow. The second death. No resistance remained, no more rebellion, only the horrifying harvest of seeds once planted. One after another, they were delivered into the flames, and the gateway sealed behind them. Justice had been satisfied. When humanity's judgment reached its end, the hall shifted its focus toward an ancient evil. The angels who abandoned their heavenly station, who forsook their sacred purpose by their own will, were dragged from the chains of eternal darkness into the light of final reckoning. For them, no records were needed. Their treachery was woven into creation itself. The blinding truth of divine holiness became their prosecution, revealing the catastrophic scale of their rebellion. The sentence came as a motion, a wordless command, sealing a doom beyond imagination. They walked, not as conquerors, but as captives of their own treachery. The portal that devoured condemned souls opened again for their fallen leaders. By irresistible power, they were hurled into the eternal flames. The conclusion of a war that began before the dawn of time, now ended forever. With all rebellion crushed, only the ultimate adversaries remained. Not creatures, but the very forces that had cursed existence itself. And so death and hell, the dungeon of departed souls, were summoned for their destruction. No trial was given, only a decree. The authority they wielded across the ages was stripped away in a heartbeat. Seized by absolute sovereignty, these ancient captors became prisoners of their own domain. They were thrown into the lake of fire, the second death consuming death itself. The endless cycle of agony, rebellion, and exile finally shattered. The judgment was finished. And from the ruins of the fallen world, a new dawn, a new heaven and a new earth, where death exists no more.